Welcome to our August 11th edition of Monday Night Memories, and we're knee-deep in fall camp for Purdue football. If you've been looking at GoldandBlack.com, Coach Barry Odom and company are going at it pretty good right now, but a very special guest this week, Craig Terrill, a redshirt freshman on that team from the pride of Lebanon, Indiana, and nobody brought his lunch pail more to work than Craig Terrill did, and he made a difference in that season. We'll talk about his key moments on special team, his key block in that win against Wisconsin, and much more. But Craig, again, Nate, with the good folks at Twin City and Chariot Auto Group, this is a guy that also came in as a redshirt freshman, just like a lot of guys in that defense, and had a big year.
Definitely earned his place in the history of Purdue football. And as you mentioned, Alan, with Lebanon, when I think of Craig, I think of the big display they have for him at Lebanon High School with his jerseys and photos, Purdue and NFL, and the great career he had, and how proud that community is of all he's done.
7 years in the NFL and one of the great guys, and a musician to boot. Craig Terrill, a multi-talented guy. You'll enjoy this interview with Craig coming right up. Alan Karpick here with Craig Terrill and part of our Monday Night Memory series. We are looking back at Purdue's Rose Bowl season, and Craig Terrill had a huge part of that, the success not only of that team, but also a very successful career at Purdue. He was just a baby, so to speak, a redshirt freshman in that year. We were talking offline. Jim Chaney wanted to remind me, now that I think about it, I'm going to throw this at you. Jim Chaney, make sure you tell Craig that we really wanted him on the offensive line, and because Brock Spack complained so much, it was a big baby. You went defense. But talk about that. You know, you came in as out of Lebanon, Indiana. Did not, I don't think, if my memory's right, Brett Botts was ahead of you initially, was injured, but then you came in and had the opportunity to start. Is that story the way it worked out in the year 2000 as a redshirt freshman?
Yeah, it is. Purdue was the only school that told me that I could play defense. Every other school said, you're going to be an offensive lineman, Craig. And I don't know if Purdue was being honest with me. You know, I know Jim was working behind the scenes to have me be a center or a guard. But, you know, in my heart, I've always loved playing defensive line. So that's why I chose Purdue. And I was glad to have great coaches. And, I was behind Brent going into the season, and he showed great mentorship to me and showing me how to play defensive line and what it meant. He had an unfortunate injury, and football is when you get your chance, go in and make some plays. And I was, that you don't know what you don't know. I just went in the lineup. And luckily, I had some outstanding guys playing around me on that defense that probably covered up a lot of mistakes that I made that year.
Well, and interesting because Brock Spack, who knew a thing or two about putting defenses together, certainly as the DC, but you had a whole host of freshmen. I mean, that really, that ended up being NFL guys, yourself included. Mm-hmm. But, you think about yourself and Sean Phillips and Gilbert Gardner on down the line, Stuart Schweigert. Did that age thing come into play? I mean, you'd been around a year and had the redshirt, but did you guys stop and think about where you were in terms of age-wise and trying to compete against the teams that you competed against?
I think it was helpful that so many young guys played quick with our group because we didn't play like freshmen or redshirt freshmen. We just said, all right, we have a high-powered offense. Let's go be fast and make a lot of big plays on defense. And like you said, there's Landon Johnson.
Landon Johnson. Forgot about Landon. Yep.
Yeah, just guys that could run, love football, just good people, I think is another thing. Like we all genuinely were all close and good friends, and loved playing football. And it was a cool opportunity. The planets aligned where we had that Drew running the offense, and we could just go out and play.
Culture is everything, and you know that, and yet it is interesting when you're young and you have an excellent, obviously with Gary Emanuel and Brock Spack and others on that, and personalities, but excellent football coaches, certainly Jim Chaney and Greg Olson on down the line. This was really a unique situation, and Joe Tiller running the show from the top. You've been around football a long time and been around sports and got kids in sports, etc. How unique was that coaching staff? Because looking back at what not only what Joe Tiller brought to the table, but what all those guys did.
Yeah, I think the coaching set chemistry was incredible. And
yeah,
I think it is a unique thing where, you can have a group of guys playing who all kind of vibe together and just like know where each other's going to be on the field. But you really did, like, looking back at that coaching staff, like they had continuity, this and what they wanted, what their goals were as a team. Just as people, like you saw, they'd butt heads at practice, but
I'm sure
you saw them like joking around, like around the facility and stuff. And there were guys that they probably had a better sense of what we were doing than we did as players, because, they'd been around the game for so long that when you see a group of guys come together, like, oh, like this could be pretty cool. So, I think, that's just as important as the guys on the field. Was like that coaching staff that Joe had put together was just some, high football knowledge, but also just high life knowledge guys.
Yeah, Joe Tiller, who we all lament the fact that he passed too early, but he openly talked about how much he loved Craig Terrill as a player. I don't know how much he told you that while he played, maybe not a lot. And knowing Joe, he probably didn't tell that to anybody a lot, but we would have that discussion of how much he appreciated what you brought. And I think one of our favorite photo shoots at GoldandBlack back in your day was the old, we cast you as a lunch pail guy. And I think Tom Campbell found some downtown in Lafayette. We borrowed a lunch pail of all things and
stole some guy's lunch.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry we did that to you, but that was Campbell's idea. But you certainly brought that to the table, and that part was fun. All right, so take me back. This is an interesting year. I mean, a championship season certainly, but a roller coaster year because some things happened that weren't all great, and you had to weather some storms. You get off to the season with a couple of relatively easy wins against Central Michigan and Kent. Go to Notre Dame in a game that you had. I mean, and you're chasing around a tight end at quarterback for Notre Dame, Gary Godsey, which is a bad word, two bad words for Purdue fans long term, because that was a game that Vinny makes the catch, a couple minutes to go, you have them, and they run down the field and beat you. But take you through that game, if you remember what you remember about playing up there. And of course, for you, it's always big playing up in South Bend. I don't care who you're playing up there; it's a big deal. But anything that you recall specifically from that game against the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, that was a hard one to lose, and probably a catalyst moment for our team that year to shift to go where we went after that. But I grew up. Notre Dame was a school like that I grew up wanting to go to.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want you.
Their mistake.
So that was like a big starred game on our schedule for me that year. I'm like, all right, I'm playing. This is going to be huge. Of course, we're going to destroy them. They have a tight end playing. That luck of the Irish thing is real up there for some reason.
No doubt.
I had a great, really, really late hit on the quarterback. Like he had already slid, and I dove in and just speared him right in the head, just an overexcited. So I've got the experience of being booed by 80,000 Irish fans at the same time. So it was. I remember the bus ride home. It was just like, oh, we should have won that one.
Yeah.
But I think it was a rally point. And Notre Dame game was so weird because it wasn't every year. It was such a, we want to win that game, rivalry wise, and just knocking off a nationally televised team, whether it's at home or up there. But, it doesn't have the Big Ten impact. So I think that was like the take a breath afterwards moment of all of our team goals are still ahead of us. We start the Big Ten season now, and that's the bigger picture. Even though the cherry on top would have been beating Notre Dame as well, but we regrouped and moved on.
Yeah, you got a chance to beat them your senior year in 2003. There were 3 crazy games. And, of course, your senior year of high school would have been 98. Purdue loses a heartbreaker up there. 2000, like we've talked about, 2002, another one that was an absolute heartbreaker at Notre Dame. But, you got them your senior year. Okay, so Penn State also a tough loss, and that was a conference loss in a game where special teams were a problem. Just not able to get a couple punts off. That was a challenge certainly for that team, and a team also that on paper, though winning in Penn State is never easy, without question, but the opportunity to beat them there and letting one slip away. You go into Michigan the following week, and all of a sudden you're down 28-10. I have to ask everybody about that in terms of, there's a lot of stories about the locker room at halftime.
Right.
Joe Tiller, I think he kicked the field goal, and I've told people this is the greatest comeback, still the greatest comeback in the history of Purdue football. No Purdue teams ever come from 18 points behind to win. You did. But what do you remember from the halftime speech? I would imagine, I hear a lot of talk about some level of calm, but Chucky Okobe, who we talked to with a couple days ago, said he couldn't be quiet completely. He said, we got to get it going. What do you recall from that deal?
It had to rank as one of Joe's most colorful halftime speeches.
Yeah.
In the language department, he didn't hold back. He told us exactly what he thought of us. So, and I'm sure a lot of people turned off their TVs at the first half, just like, oh boy, this season's is snowballing now. It's going downhill. From that game, I remember, I was playing against Steve Hutchinson, who was a teammate of mine in Seattle, and he's in the Hall of Fame now, and was a man amongst boys. So I was getting ragdolled the entire game. So if I made a tackle in that game, I would be very surprised. But
we'll have to look that up. But go ahead.
don't look at that stat sheet. I might be a ghost on that stat sheet. But it was all right, we're good. Calm down. There was a lot of fire at halftime, but it was almost like we know we're a good team. Come out and play, and then just everything went our way after that.
Vinny gets the big play. When we spoke with Vinny about the turning up field, that first possession, catches kind of an out cut and then runs away from Vinny's fast. But when you run away from Michigan's secondary, I don't care if Michigan's defense may not have been quite up to the level of Michigan over the years, but they still have players at every position, and that got things going. Okay, I ask everybody the same question too. Where were you when Travis obviously hits the game-winning field goal after missing a one that with 3 minutes to go? I'm still not sure why Lloyd Carr and/or Drew Henson decided to pass on first down. It helped Purdue have enough time. You always knew with number 15 at quarterback, I assume, that you were never out of a game. But Travis gets back in position and hits that field goal. What do you recall from that moment?
Yeah, chaos. The roller coaster of that game was wild, right? And I know there were several that season. So but from just getting whooped in the first half to miss it, where he misses the field goal, and kind of the deflating feeling of that, but then just to come back and nail it, and he has a good celebration with the fans afterwards.
Yes, he did.
But he was a clutch player. He showed up and hit the winning shot when he needed to.
It's funny, and if we speak with Travis on this series, not just that, but he was really the first. Now you read about bullying on social media. He was bullied by email. Now, I'm not making light of it, because it was, as I understand, it was nasty and very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But now there was no Instagram. There was no Facebook.
I'm so
all
grateful
that kind of stuff
to play pre.
Oh, I know.
I do feel the kids these days.
Oh gosh, no question. And of course, you've got three daughters that got to deal with that world, and not an easy thing. But all right, so you go up and beat a very good Northwestern team, a team that you ended up tying for the Big Ten championship with, and this was a crucial tiebreaker game up there. The following week at Wisconsin, you are the hero, or one of them, certainly, and yet in overtime, you have to take me through. I would think even in our memories fade over time, but I'm guessing that is a head on the pillow, or you have dreams about that play. I'm not sure. Of course, Aiken Adele sets it up by making a big sack. This is an overtime against Wisconsin up at Camp Randall Stadium, makes a sack, and then it really forces the Badgers out for too long of a field goal attempt to score in overtime. Is that a mind's eye thing? Do you still recall what that was, or did it happen so fast that it's not something you constantly play over in your mind?
Yeah, I'm surprised they were kicking it. First of all, obviously it's a unique situation being in overtime and you're losing possession either way. But it was a long kick, so it was, and then that was the first kick I've ever blocked ever in football. So that was, I'd never blocked one in high school, and but it was, we worked a lot field goal block, like in practice and stuff. We had a great special teams coach, Scott Downing, and the beauty of field goal is you just throw your body in there and try to put your face in front of the ball and hope it hits some part of you.
Where did it hit? Because everybody talks about the two thuds. Where did it hit you?
I think it was a chest shot. So,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
we had blasted their O-line back quite a bit, because usually it's a hand tip, maybe off your helmet, but it was and I think that's what kind of propelled the ball backwards, because usually they'll deflect and go off to the side, but boom, right in my chest, if I remember correctly. And then just thank goodness I didn't have to pick that ball up and run it, and somebody like Ashante was there to grab it, because I wasn't going to make it to the end zone, but he had the speed.
One of my favorite Tom Campbell pictures, though we didn't get the block. It's hard for a photographer, especially if you're on the sideline, to get. He got a great shot of Aiken's, which I think was the cover of Gold and Black that week, of Aiken's sack, which again set up that long field goal. But the fact you and Ashante are in perfect stride motion, going after the ball. And who won? Ashante got to it first, and that was helpful. And not that you couldn't have rumbled down the field, but Ashante got
that whole Rose Bowl season if I'd have got my hands on that.
I want to know how far Ashante was ahead of you when he got to the goal line. Was it 10 yards, 15 yards? Tell me.
I think I started celebrating to not make it look.
You knew it was happening.
I knew he was gone, so we were good.
Yeah.
It was fun. Even being on the road, we played in so many hostile environments that year.
Yeah.
Penn State, I think that was the loudest I've ever experienced a football stadium. Obviously we didn't win that one, but Wisconsin, notoriously just has a loud, fun, big college crowd. So, just to silence an entire stadium of red and just do it on an instant like that in overtime and just see them filing out because we're celebrating was perfect.
Unbelievable moment. Okay. After Wisconsin, it's the frying pan into the fire. Ohio State comes calling. It's all on the line for that game. I mean, no question. That's a win that if you win that game, you're in the driver's seat for the Rose Bowl. There was a calamity ahead up at Michigan State, but that was, we always all the discussion about, and there was a lot to that football game because you guys were ahead. Nate Clements gets a long kick or a punt return, gets Ohio State back in the game and goes ahead. First, I want, Drew Brees, the consummate leader, the guy that I can't imagine anybody being more accountable. He had 4 interceptions that game, but also I think threw for 500 yards. But a lot of guys talk about the fact, and I don't know if you on the 4th pick, that Ohio State's, rambling down the field and it's the end. I mean, they're going to score and you're going to lose. And he cracks, I think it's Mike Doss or whoever it was, and cracks him out of bounds. Didn't stop him from scoring a touchdown, but sent a message to a lot of guys, as they recall, looking at that about Drew's character. And not that was ever in question about the kind of guy Drew was, but any memories of that or any thoughts that crossed your mind, just the fact that he threw his body on him, even and knocked him out at the 3-yard line.
He was a tough dude. I mean, Drew, and he proved that through his NFL career, like any guy. And he had physical gifts, but he wasn't the biggest guy in the world. But, to play as many years in the NFL and get hit as much as he did, just keep coming back through injuries. But he showed that right there. And I think one of our thinking about our defense that year of like turnover situations, aren't, that's a make or break moment for defenses. So
yeah,
when a pick happens, you go out and you get the ball back. And we didn't always do that, but I think it's that kind of mentality that Brock like put into us through that year, through our entire defense, that was just like, no matter what the circumstances are, we have an opportunity to go back out and make a play.
I'm going to digress for a half second. Did you ever get a clean shot at Drew in the NFL? Did you ever sack him?
I don't think I did. He was pretty good about getting rid of the ball.
Yeah. I don't know how many times you played him, but
I think I played him a few times. I beat him in our last game. They came out and play a playoff game in Seattle, and it was Marshawn Lynch had the Beast Quake run in Seattle. So that was my last season. So.
Yeah, and part of that 7-year NFL career. Okay, you go back, and everybody again. It's a where were you moment. I was on the elevator coming down from the press box, so I didn't even see it. You were on the field when Seth Morales is the fourth option for Drew Brees in the 64-yard touchdown pass. Were you sitting on the bench waiting to go back on the field? Were you standing on the sideline? Where were you, and what did you think when that happened?
I think it was we're going back out, but you've seen Drew just throughout his career, like he makes plays, like he knows where each guy's each read is, right, and to go to the fourth read and have that option to go deep over, Ohio State is NFL talent at every position. So, but just, Seth, if you can't draw up a more picture perfect football moment than watching him just over the shoulder catch that into the end zone. So.
It still sends, for us lay people, sends chills, because I just can't imagine knowing that ball's coming.
Yeah.
And knowing you got to have a split second. We'll talk to Seth hopefully during this series, but you've got to have a moment of, I don't know if you have panic. Maybe you don't have time to react, but I'm going to catch this thing. But yeah.
It's cinematic. They try to replicate that in Hollywood, and that's just the beauty of sports is how perfect that play.
Yeah. 64 yards and certainly it's tops on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest moments in Purdue football history.
I'm surprised your elevator kept working, because that place went crazy. So
I heard this unbelievable, and I think I may have been out of I was kind of circling the southeast end to walk on the field, and just unbelievable, unbelievable situation. All right, so. Michigan State, again, part of that roller coaster in a game. A couple key things happened. First, Northwestern beats Michigan the week before, during your bye week before the Michigan State game. And that game ended up being extremely important, 54-51. I don't think any Michigan team had ever given up 50 points. And they lose to Northwestern, a team that so you were winning all the tiebreakers, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Then the following week, you go up to Michigan State, and as a TJ Duckett was tough to stop that day. And I think Vinny or somebody had talked about the fact that it was a momentum thing. Offense, and again, you're not part of that, but the offense just didn't get untracked. Michigan State was good enough to pound the ball on you that day. But what do you remember from that one?
I remember I'm trying to think. My first year, I was probably weighing about 270 or maybe 280, and I know TJ Duckett weighed more than me. So
He's a big guy.
Specifically remember a goal line play where I came through just thinking I was going to make the play, and he dropped his helmet, and then I just saw the sky, and he laid me out on my back. So it was yet another welcome to college football moment that I had that season, but. Yeah, he was a tough running back to get down, and it was kind of one of those just, nothing was aligning that day.
Yeah. The good thing was Iowa turns around and beats Northwestern, and Iowa sitting in a pretty good size upset, really. When you look back at it, Iowa in their second year, Kirk Ferentz's second year, they were just starting to get to be serviceable, and they proved that was a huge turning point for Kirk Ferentz, who's still coaching, but they had to get that done. So Indiana comes. It's a team that. You're an in-state guy. It's an important game, to say the least. And, of course, everything's on the line. We still talk about Jim Chaney just choosing to run the same play to Montrell Loeb. I think it was 27 consecutive off-tackle plays, something like that. And Montrell gets 38 carries in that game. But you had to chase around Antoine Randall, who is a difficult guy to deal with. Talk about that game, and just there was probably not a lot of doubt, at least in the fans' mind, that Purdue's going to get the job done that day, but you still had to get it done.
Yeah, I think that was our mindset going in. Is like, if we do what we do, we'll be fine. But as a defense, anytime you had Antoine on the field, he was a game changer. So we knew we had a large task, and just as many hits as we could possibly get. I think Sean and I had a good. I've seen it maybe in a Sports Illustrated at some point in the past of where we just both hit him at the same time and kind of bent him in half.
Yeah.
And that was what we wanted for that game. As great a player as we just wanted to hit him as many times as we possibly could and see if he still wanted to run the ball.
Yeah, and he did it was an amazing guy watching him run the football over the years for Indiana, but you guys took care of business. Okay, that moment on the field, again, you're just a freshman, but had to be very, very special. It was a cold night, but the Roses came out after beating Indiana and knowing you're going to Pasadena. That from the lens of a quarter century, what's that takeaway? What was that feeling to you?
It was the coolest moment in Ross-Ade. Just fans on the field like that. That was just perfect. Like beating IU at home, winning the bucket. Just everyone's got roses in their teeth and just and hats on, hat and t-shirt game. Or we were Big Ten champs, and just looking at Purdue's history and wanting to get back to that. The Rose Bowl game again. It had been way too long. So to do it at home and to do it with a fan storming the field, it was that's perfect.
Imagine the NIL possibilities back in the days. Can you imagine? No, we don't want to make your hair stand on end. But all right, so you get the chance to go to Pasadena, and in your situation too, that it was a phenomenal opportunity. You're dealing, and not a lot of people know, with your dad's health issue around that time, and that was a very difficult time for anyone, and certainly for you, but and your family. But what about that opportunity and being able to be out in Pasadena and get that chance to go?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was I'd never been to California, so it was an eye opener. But just just the history behind the Rose Bowl and the whole week going into it, my whole family, everybody came out, so it was awesome. And we had so many fans, and I've talked to so many fans through the years that it said I drove out there. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So many people in Lebanon went, which was cool. That not only just knew our family, but also Purdue fans. So I'll still run into people here that are like, I was in Pasadena. That was 25 years ago. So we need to go again. But it was a fun game. I wish we would have won that game. It was competitive and fun, and I played against some guys who I ended up being teammates with in following years, down the road. But it was just, the flyover at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
unbelievable. It was an incredible moment. Just the scenery around there. It's everything that you see on TV, but you're living it in real life.
Yeah, and it's funny about Purdue, and this is not a loser's mentality. This is a Purdue fans mentality. I think Purdue fans have always been knew it when they had it, and knew things were good when they had it. And I think you lose the Rose Bowl, You lose the Final Four 2 years ago, and Purdue wanted to win Zach Edey wanted to win the national championship. I understand that, but no team, no fan base got more enjoyment out of those 2 trips. I don't think Pasadena. You knew it when it was there, and of course out in Glendale a couple years ago. Maybe Purdue will be back in Indianapolis this year. We'll find out. But that was kind of the essence of. And you are a Purdue fan after your playing days. Fair assessment that memory still, even though you lost to Washington, was an unbelievable experience for Purdue fans.
It is. We have such a genuine fan base, which I think is unique in college football. You see some great programs that their fans are similar, but just Purdue fans are there. They're showing up no matter what, and they're a supportive base. That's key to any great sports program.
Yeah, no question. All right, I got to ask you last but not least here, your family. Get us caught up on what's keeping Craig Terrill. We share a love for Bruce Springsteen, and your music acumen is well documented. But tell me about the 3 girls in your family and what's going on in your world.
Yes, I have awesome family. My wife, Rachel. We have 3 daughters, Journey, Josie, and Juliet, and they're 16, 13, and 11. And they're all musical, thankfully, and they love singing. They love concerts. I need Bruce to go back on tour so I can get them to their first Bruce concert.
So, take them to Europe. You can get that done. No problem.
I'm sure they would enjoy that. But awesome kids, and just a wide variety of interest, from sports to music to theater and everything. So I'm very blessed. I got a nephew playing college football at Miami, Ohio, so I'm still get to watch some football every Saturday this fall. So, and obviously cheering for the Boilermakers as well.
I've asked you this before. On the music side, is Rachel music? I mean, I know you are, and were you always? Were you playing at age 10, or I mean, when did this?
I picked up a guitar about 13. And started playing. My older brother played, so we played a lot together. And then my daughter's a drummer, so she
great.
She just won the Lebanon talent show contest last night, 4th of July week. So she was excited, but she has a band, and it's fun to see her do that, continuing that. But I've always enjoyed kind of grew up kind of like in blend of rock and country music as a teenager. So just started playing guitar because I enjoyed it.
Are you still playing? I mean, are you still in any band or still playing the area, so to speak?
My daughter lets me sit in with her every now and then.
Very cool.
I stay in the back and I'm really quiet and just strumming a little bit, but I play at home. We play a lot of music at home and sing a lot, but that's about it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Craig, one of our favorite people. We've had a chance to know each other pretty well over the years, and it's one of my great treasures. So, Craig, thanks so much for your time. We will look forward to. We're still trying to figure out when everybody's going to come up for Purdue football. You'll have some Miami schedules to juggle, but to celebrate that 25th year, it's hard to believe it's been 25 years since the Rose Bowl. But thanks so much for your time. I always enjoy the interview.
Alan, you're one of my favorites, and all you guys at GoldandBlack, and gave me my first internship way back when.
I wasn't going to mention that, but you were a darn good one. So man, there you go. You're in the Hall of Fame now. Yeah, it's funny. But we don't have any pension plan for interns. I'm sorry. So that's the way it goes. Yeah, we sure enjoyed working with you, and it was fun for us, for Brian and myself especially. You and Brian share a lot of the same taste in music and other things, and we enjoy that a great deal. So take care, Craig. Have a great 4th, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it.
Thank you to our guests from the 2000 Rose Bowl team, and of course our sponsor, Chariot Auto Group, Twin City, and Nate Barrett and all the good folks there. We'll have another edition of Monday Night Memories with members of the 2000 Big Ten Championship 2001 Rose Bowl team next Monday, and we'll continue this throughout the summer months and possibly even into the football season. So thanks to all for watching and listening, and have a great rest of your week.